Hi everyone, welcome back. This video we're going to focus on Act 2 of the storytelling teacher approach. So if you're joining us for the first time or missed me introducing Act 1, please go back and check out my last video. So last time I explained that Act 1 was the setup, and we talked about using a setup activity to kind of assess students' understanding. And we finished the act by introducing a central question, something that will launch our students into their learning journey. Now Act 2 builds on this question. We call Act 2 the problem, and that's because this section of our lesson will focus on learners analysing, understanding, and importantly connecting to the fundamental issues raised by the central question. This does not have to be a long activity, mind you. It can be just 5 minutes of your lesson if it needs to be. You can present it as a whole class discussion. It can be done as a think, pair, share exercise, a post-it note task, but essentially we want the learners to connect their understanding to the question's purpose. Depending on your class, you may need to build a bigger story around your question to give the question more context for your learners to connect with. That's absolutely not a problem. You can set the question within a context of, let's say, a local news story, or create a fictional scenario that the learners find themselves in, or it can be within a larger project brief. For example, I took over one year at the start of a January term a functional skills English class. Now I'm not an English teacher, but they were students who had failed English at GCSE and they did not enjoy the subject. English is boring, sir. What's the point, sir? I wouldn't read this sort of thing, so why am I doing it? I kind of got it though. So one lesson after I've been whined at enough, I stopped everyone. Right, okay, I said, pens down, tell me what interests you. Now there was a kid called Ollie, who was a gentle giant of a 17-year-old. He raised his hand. I like listening to podcasts. Great, I said. Anyone else? A few raised their hands and mentioned a few titles, but then Rebecca, who was 20 years old, oldest in the group and on her final chance to get a level 2 qualification, said, I like murder stuff. Crime stories, real ones. Oh yeah, everyone kind of agreed, and they all started talking about documentaries and local stories and bits like that. And that was it. I got it. The following lesson, I came to them and I introduced them to series 1 of a podcast called Serial, which was huge sort of a few years before. And I got them absolutely hooked just by playing that episode and kind of engaging it that way. And it particularly hooked them when it was talking about the idea of being accused of something. And this was the connection for the term. All my central questions and problems came back to the characters and details of that story, to that podcast. Okay, and we were able to take those functional skills and English concepts and applied them to our lessons and to the podcast. So things like, were the police biased towards Adnan Syed? Was the podcast objective or subjective? What mode of address is best for a new true crime podcast? All of these I was able to use. So Act 2 is about establishing the problem that you have presented with the central question, and for the learners to begin to understand its relevance to them and the world they live in. It gives them a purpose. It also allows them to start considering what potential solutions there might be to actions they need to take to solve this particular problem. This is a great lead into revealing your objectives for the session, or you could even get the learners to do this on target cards if working on an independent learning task. Now that the learners understand the purpose and how the activities they're going to be doing are relevant, you can then move into Act 3, which I'll discuss in my next video. So be sure to follow me on social media and subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter and YouTube channel for more tips and insights and not miss the next video. You can also book workshops for the storytelling teacher approach, where I dive deeper into each act and show educators how to further boost engagement, embed critical thinking and problem solving skills, and maximise your success as a storytelling teacher. For more info, please visit my website, curiousspirit.co.uk. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.